hello! And yelling. All right, we need to do a poll with our users here. Papa P wants to remove our timer.
Nobody likes a timer, bro.
Shorten it. That would mean I have to go get water before this meeting. That's just really inconvenient for me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know if you feel like the timer should be removed so you can see your beautiful faces faster. How's it going, guys? How's your week?
Going good, man. Going good. Locking and loading. What is that? Carlos, what shirt are you wearing? Axe what? Axe Capital?
Axe Capital, yeah. Shout out Bobby Axelrod. It was randomly like fading a little bit today. When I was picking out a T-shirt, it's fading a little bit, but I had intuition to wear this. I was like, I'm going to throw this guy on.
Nice.
There's actually a wholesaling company called Axe Capital.
Is there?
Yeah, they switched their name. It was years ago. They were AA something, and then they went to Axe Capital. I'm like, come on.
Switch from AA to Axe.
Like, come on. Like, you got to be, those are big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Big shoes to fill.
I love that show. I watched the first couple episodes of Succession, which is supposed to be
similar. That's a good show.
Is it?
The way my wife watches TV shows with me is we'll watch one season and then she gets bored with it. And then I forever can never watch the rest of it. So I'm always wondering, we've done it. I could name a list of shows that I've started one season. And she goes, I'm not really feeling this anymore. And now I can never finish Peaky Blinders. I have all these shows I can never finish, and Succession is one of them. So I think we're about 1 or 2 seasons into that. I loved it, dude. Like, that was good with the family, and they try to do the takeover, and it's a great business kind of like corporate show. I thought it was really good.
That's Papa P in like 20 years when his family's all fighting over a mobile home park tycoon.
And we talked about that yesterday. So Sam Zell died.
So I did see that. That was in the news. Yeah.
And it's like, and you got to really think. And I was listening to hang on, I'm just Googling it. Family Inheritance. So I was listening to, who's that? Brandon Beardy or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
He has a podcast, and I was listening to him with a mobile home park guy. And one of the questions he asked is like, your family, what are you going to give them? Do they inherit anything? Like, do you help them? Do you pay for college? And all those types of things. And Sam Zella died, and that's a question, right? So it's really been on my mind, like, what happens to that money? Like, and on the podcast, they're talking about it, and they're like, who's going to get, or is someone going to take it over? Or are they going to control all of your mobile home parks, all of your investments? Is it going to get, like, dissolved, sold? What's happening? And he brought up very good points, and the guy who was on there with him was like, he hopes no one person controls everything, per se. Like, it's not just going to be given to one person to control. But, like, Sam Zell, that guy's he's one of the largest real estate holders in America, maybe even in the world. I don't know, but who inherits all that?
Doesn't it mostly go to a company because isn't a company running it?
Well, I don't know how he's structured. So he's founder of, he's got a huge investment. So I'm pretty sure it's publicly traded. So, and again, Succession is like that, right? So he's got a publicly traded company, like a media company. But the problem is who inherits the shares, whoever inherits the shares. Right. And then, as a corporate person, again, I've never done this. I've only watched a lot of TV. But, like you set, and that's where the whole show's based on, like you set your board up. So someone's got to take it over. Was he grooming one of his kids or a family member? The dad dies, the kid takes over. Who's taking over the shares, and then predominantly the control of the board, the votes. So I don't know how it's all set up. How many shares does he own of his own company? Who's got majority stake? That's kind of what I wanted to dive into and kind of research, because that guy had a lot. $5.9 billion, according to Bloomberg Billionaire Index.
A lot to go around.
Who inherits it? Now the family remains focused on giving him a burial, but it's yet to be determined who gets what. It is assumed that the estate and all of his wealth will be given to his immediate family. So nobody knows yet. So it is not public information of what happens to all of Sam Zell's money and inheritance. But I bet you over the next week, there's going to be a lot of articles and journalists diving deep
into
what happens.
It's probably in a will, right? Like he was old.
No, he's old and wealthy, so I am sure this is
Thought about.
Oh yeah, but again, like what would you do? Like it's a publicly traded company, so it's not like it's just a family.
Right.
It's not like it's just so I got some investors and it's all mine and I'm in control of everything. Like he didn't control Equity Residential, to my knowledge. It was a publicly traded, like a REIT, so he has to answer to people. Whereas if I die and all my flips and my little rentals and stuff, like my family takes it, they fight over it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So yeah, like there's already a different CEO. Like he's not the CEO. He must be a part of the board.
But
majority owner or something.
Yeah. So this is something I'd like to look into. Maybe we talk about it more on the next week's episode and kind of dive into it. But he had a lot of stakes inside real estate and media. So
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know enough about it to have a full convo, but I would like to dive deeper into it.
Yeah, interesting, big numbers for sure. I had a good week. The things that came to mind is I have a wedding next week I'm best man at. First time giving a best man speech. Used ChatGPT, which was actually pretty solid. I'm gonna work on it this weekend, but for like solid like bone structure, very, very solid with some different prompts there as far as like a friend since kindergarten and growing up together and Game of Thrones references and stuff like that.
Ah, nice.
So that was cool. Steve Trang just launched Sales Disruptors. And he was talking about it yesterday in the family mastermind meeting. I believe it's $97, and it's kind of like a module / like Kajabi type style thing, which is like every single piece of content curated around sales. And I think it's a $97 a month product, I believe. But he's also looking for like affiliates getting on podcasts. So I actually hit him up yesterday. Haven't heard back from him yet. So I'm going to reach out to like Paul Sparks and some people that are a little bit closer instead of just a cold DM. But I did Zoom message him yesterday. So that's interesting. And I think they had a podcast yesterday on that. And then I also met with Chris Vasquez, aka Chris Cinematic, who does content for a lot of people like Pace Morby. Like he'll take pieces of
how'd that go?
It was cool. He lives local, so we've met in person a couple times at some real estate events, but we just did a Zoom on Tuesday or Wednesday. It was cool seeing like his process. Like they use like a Trello, and it's a very collaborative type thing. I was definitely thinking of Papa P, like of how he could really even just take this basic structure of like a content dump. And it's something I'm going to be thinking about this weekend and moving forward. He was kind of convincing me that like personal brand is so big, even outside of like the company and just like everything that you do. But the basic formula or kind of layout he has in Trello is you need to think of like an end vision. And that's what I'm kind of thinking of, even though I know it roughly with like essentially selling investor views, getting people on investor views. But then you do a content dump leading up to that. And it could be anything. So you could be talking about anything that you're interested in. Brandon could be talking about different sales tactics, starting a software company, things that you've learned. It doesn't have to be just like selling RI Op Center or reaching motivated seller leads or people that would bring you capital. So it was kind of interesting seeing his whole Trello board and like editing it. And it's very like collaborative and stuff like that.
So are you saying basically you dump content with him?
Ideas, content ideas. So you work through it first because you have to. He has like really good strategy on like how to film it and stuff. But what's interesting is the content could be about anything. So something I like, for example, is like Daily Stoic, which I think both of you guys are familiar with. So that would be perfect like content of just me talking about a passage of Marcus Aurelius or somebody talking about life philosophy from a high level. I could take that, put my own interpretation on it. So if you guys see people on social media, they do it where it has like the transcribed stuff. His looks very much like that. But it was just like a fascinating thing. Like John could talk about like so much personal stuff, like even doing like the turtle surveys. Yeah. So turtles first thing. But it really could be everything. And it's like, it's interesting psychologically is how social media is, where like you almost like learn or you build your own perception of a person. Like you could be following someone 2 years and you build your own perception of the person just from their posts. And it's kind of like you have like infinite space in your brain for that. But it's interesting psychologically too, which is very much pitch anything or never split the difference. When you see someone posting their own personal stuff or their own personal interests and explaining stuff, it kind of lowers their guard automatically when they're in a situation to buy from you. Like if an offer of yours comes across their plate. So it's just, I don't know, it's interesting and I like it. I have it recorded. I'm going to re-listen to it again. But
I don't get it. So is he looking for more clients? I mean, is he
reached out for me to be a client because he recorded the clip that was me and Esteban. Esteban's tagged me on like a couple things. He did that clip and he's like, yeah, you got so much engagement on that one, like compared to Esteban's other ones. And he's like,
what does he have a site?
No, he just gave me a list. He gave me a list of clients. He might have a site. I could send you his Instagram and pull it up really quick.
So what does he do? He films?
Yeah, so he'll go in everything. He films, edits, posts, everything. And he's even big like on location. Like some of his clients are in Miami, but he'll literally go plan out content and like fly to you and do stuff. And that's probably where it gets a little bit more pricey. But he lives like 15 minutes away, and I see him once a month at the same real estate event. So that's why I told him even next time, just because there's InvestorFuse customers that go to like this main wholesaling event that's kind of populated the last like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So I could even just interview like InvestorFuse people there. And I think he would just do it for me for free because it's good exposure for him too. Just doing like little one-off things like that.
Interesting.
So the strategy is to just, you may have an end vision of like sell InvestorFuse, but your content should, for the most part, not be related to that so that you can paint a picture of who you are and what you do with your content. So by the time that you do want to say, or the occasional time you say, here's InvestorFuse, buy it, the people that see that video have seen my turtle video.
Exactly.
Want to support John and his turtles.
On the money,
Well, that's what they say the difference between your feed and your stories are, right? Your stories are more like your personal, real-time look into my life, whereas feed is like the curated content of what you're doing. And then they say, so I was doing some research, they say you should have 2 to 5 pillars of content. So it's like you pick 2 to 5 things you want to talk about, and those are the things of why people would subscribe to your channel. And then obviously your stories are more personal and they go across your entire brand. Yeah, I was curious. I didn't know because like I record all my stuff and more like data dump, like media dump everything into a file, and I got to get them edited into more clips. Even like these podcasts need to be chopped up. But the problem is what I found is where it gets real complicated is like the more media profiles that you have, right? Like the YouTube, TikTok, everything's a different length and a different requirement and a different like reason for viewing. So it becomes more difficult. Right? Does he handle all of that?
Yep.
Because that's interesting because like, so even for like this podcast, right? So turning long form into short form, like where do you want it? Do you want it on Instagram? Well, then Instagram really only has like a 1 minute attention span, right? You're not putting a 5-6 minute clip, but that's YouTube. But you also don't want to put a 1 minute and 30 clip on YouTube because people go to YouTube to watch 5-10 minute clips, right?
Well, the shorts are big on YouTube now.
Shorts, but those are less than a minute, right?
Yeah.
The quick little excerpts, and those are big. That's like Reels. They're competing with Reels. But so it became really complex. So there's a lot there. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing what this guy does. Yeah,
it's fascinating. I'm gonna and I kind of just want to think about that too. And I saw some examples. So he pulled up some clients like he manages it out of like a master Trello account. So I got to see like a bunch of companies he managed, and it's literally like you guys see it on social, on like Instagram. Like it's just the most random stuff. Like Brandon could be talking about like literally a perfect example. You could be talking about drinking like Mountain Valley water or different types of water. And that's like a very like productive piece of content in your overall strategy. It's just interesting. And it's like an arms race too. It's I guess arms race for
it really is.
It's what?
It's never has a generation been in such a hurry to record so much about so little.
Seriously.
Like if you really think about it, it's a shame because like you go back to my mom's house and we have these books and tapes of like specific things, birthdays and like, you know, opening presents and family visits and picnics, and you open the books up and there's like, oh, look it's me, my grandma, my grandpa. And it's like, you go to my phone and it's like, that's my water bottle. I took today This is, oh, look at, that's a picture of a picture on my wall. I don't know why. It's the most meaningless shit, but we're recording it. And that's kind of like what, and everyone starts to really make content about nothing. They're like just talking about shit and there's no purpose to it. It's kind of like, and I like Brian Pineda and I get what he's doing because he's
Perfect
taking
example
over.
of somebody.
But he talks about a whole bunch of fucking nothing and it's annoying. He's like, let me tell you why I'm doing this. I'm like, bro, come on, dude. Like, come on. It's like every time he thinks of something, he's got to make a recording about it. And I get it. He's getting his name out there. It benefits him. He pitches it. But again, we went from very strategic content to now they're like, just talk about anything you want. You walked your dog today and picked up his shit and someone looked at you weird. Let's make a video about that. So let me tell you today, I was walking my dog. My dog took a shit. But instead of standing in one spot, he kept moving. So little turds were everywhere. Do you know what I did? I picked up a bag and I picked it up and the neighbor looked at me funny. I said, mind your fucking business. That's how I handled my problems today.
Well,
and it's like, oh my God, that's a good video.
It's an arms race for like attention and then also that selling right. Because the more you see somebody, you're just building up like a subconscious awareness.
It's nothing, but that's not how it used to be before. It was very like, again, where I'm going with the pillars, very focused on like, your core competencies, not just what you're thinking and feeling for the day, which is where, and that's where I think everyone's wrong. I think that's where it went. So I think you're right, but I think it's reverting back.
Yeah.
Just like the curated type of stories used to be, remember you used to do the really raw footage where it was just you talking at your camera?
Yeah.
And then it went to professionals, then added the captions. You know, and the little bar at the bottom to let you know how like long it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody started doing that.
Yep.
And I think now we're reverting back because I'm seeing a lot of stuff going back to just like a person trying to connect organically and raw with their audience instead of it all being so primed and proper. Mm-hmm. And I think that type of content is going to go backwards too.
I agree.
I think like the frivolous content is going to get annoyed and too much minutia.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I think it's a use for AI. It can go in and pull out what is the content that can actually improve your life and give you some insight versus how to pick up crap.
Yeah, I agree, Papa P. And what's interesting is like humans are very like cyclical in doing stuff. It always kind of goes. So it's like, but there has to be overlap too, because I think the overarching theme with social media, which I heard someone good say it too, it was like it was around the week that Tucker and Don Lemon both got fired from Fox News and CNN. But social media, it's like that's becoming the new media. It's just people self-reporting. So it's almost like an arms race to have everyone.
Stuff.
They are
not reporting on. Let me tell you why. Like a random real estate guy now wanting to tell you about homeschooling. Like, bro, you got one kid. You decided to homeschool him. You're not a homeschooling expert. Like, you fucking have one kid. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. But they're like, this is what me and my wife decided, and here's why. And it's so, like, let me tell you about this one thought I had versus I'm an expert in real estate or in mobile parks or in whatever, running a financial organization, whatever it is. Let me teach you about that. It's now, so let me tell you why I picked the Rivian over the Tesla. It's like, bro, that is so.
Some people like
it.
Yeah, and he builds his following, but I think the overarching theme is like when something happens like that, like mainstream news, more people are like drastically shifting over to social media or however they source their news. There's going to be an eventual like there's too much like overlap that happens, and then what Papa P and me are, there's going to be a correction where it's like not as much content. So I think it's a very natural thing, and it's interesting.
No, I don't think it's going to be not as much content. I disagree. I think content
not as much frivolous content.
Yeah, I think content is the way of the future, and I think more and more you need more content. You need to be a brand, but like even so, it's the way you're getting the message. So like if you remember back in the day, like before it was really celebrities that had like the media platforms, right? Like you and I. So, and we'd like to see what they were doing in their daily, but they were showing us organically versus stopping and trying to act like an expert in something that they just applied to their life or decided to do. And that doesn't make, you didn't put your 10,000 hours in, bro. Like you're not an expert in it, but we enjoyed it because they didn't come at us like an expert where they sat there pontificating towards us about this thing that they had just decided.
That's a hashtag country. Put hashtag country club word if you're listening.
That they had just decided that they wanted to talk about. So it was more organic with them. And that's how we started as gurus or influencers. We just started to tell people and show them our day, explain what was going on, but not in a pontificating kind of way, not in a on my throne high horse way. But that's what it's coming to now because everything's so primmed and proper. They're sitting in a chair, right? They're looking at you. They're using their fucking superior hand. Yeah. Bro, there's one guy, and I love him. He's a great human. But, like, you could tell he's talking, and he's doing this the whole, like, somebody comes to his office, and he always like, okay, I'm recording content this weekend. What questions do you want me to answer? So he stands. And then he just talks, and he's doing this, and he's like, and it reminds me of Ricky Bobby, right, from that Will Ferrell movie. And he's like, "What do I do?
Talladega Nights, yeah.
Like, what do I do with my hands?" And he's like, "Just put them down by your side." He's like, and he doesn't know what to do with them, and that's where it bothers me because they start talking about the most random shit, and they sit there staring at the camera, and but like. Better content is like I like what Ren Bartlett's doing where like he records his day and he is the content and then they chop it up so as he's training people, sales coaching, speaking, they're just taking that and that type of prim and proper content is what I think more people want to see.
Gary Vee style.
I need to check him out.
Very Gary Vee style, and that's what I would like to do. Not so much like, Brandon, come up with 20 things. I'm coming. Let's talk about it. Because then you're not the content. You have to just speak on things, and it's a lot different.
Yeah.
I think there's different like avenues for the content too, right? Like Dan Martell does this, and he's recorded a video every week that goes out on YouTube, right? Yeah. And so it's like I think he does it in bulk too. Like maybe he does like 4 months worth in one day or something. But he's like, here are the scheduled things. But then he uses his Instagram platform to be more authentic and real. Like, here's what I'm doing in my day. Here's a thought I just had after this phone conversation. Like, here's how I'm parenting, stuff like that.
Here's how I'm parenting, but not, hey, listen, let me explain to you the Montessori way of parenting.
Right.
Well, like, and that's the difference. And Dan Martell is a great example of consistency too, but he only speaks on his expertise. Stuff. Yeah, he's not sitting here going, let me explain to you why I picked this boat to be on my lake. Yeah, because he's got that lake house, right? Like, and he's like, let me explain the different. Yeah, up in Canada, he's always on a boat.
Kalanwa?
Oh, it's like up in the mountain.
Yeah, but it's. I mean,
drive to the lake.
I don't really. It's not like I follow him that much, but I mean, like when I see him, I'm like,
it's like, what have I missed? When did
that guy's on the fucking lake? But that's what I'm saying. So, like, who would I rather go see? So I made a comment about the Rivian Tesla thing. So, like, there are people, and I follow them, like, and it's like where I get car reviews. I don't need to hear my real estate influencer tell me about why the Rivian's good when he knows jack shit about it other than he bought it and he uses it. And he's like, oh, look at this hidden compartment. Like, no shit, dude. I saw that on the website. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But it's like, but then you have the mobile review people, right? Like, they're super, like the supercar blonde girl. She's like, I think her Instagram is like supercar blonde. And she gets like the newest supercars. And she's an expert in like supercars. And she reviews them, shows you everything. And that's who I'm going to for that. And then there's like, we follow the, what is it? My wife always sends Mama Mobile reviews or whatever. It's like family cars, reviews for family cars. And all she does is review SUVs and vans. Supercar blonde. Yeah, AJ. AJ's got it. He watches her too because she's got like the best Audis and Mercedes and everything. But we watch them. And that's their pillar that I go and I follow them for. I don't.
Right. I would agree. So I think the frivolous stuff, like, and, you know, I think I can't remember the guy's name. We've gotten a little off. What's the guy's name you met with?
Chris Cinematic.
Chris. Yeah. I think like
is that his real name?
Chris Vasquez.
I feel like he's focusing on like, what is it that you're competent in every day? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. He's not suggesting that you make a video on how to brush your teeth. But
No.
like,
He might. Listen, according to Carlos, he told me to make a video about Mountain Valley water. Guess what? I went down the rabbit hole of toothpaste, so I should make videos about. Listen,
but you're also like, well, I don't know.
That could,
It's interesting.
But it doesn't make me an expert. I don't know everything about
but I don't
it.
think I don't think you're claiming to. I think like if you're doing like an XY axis, I think there's a certain level of like the more successful like somebody is or more well-known people is, I think that there's like a higher demand in just like their thought processes behind different things. And that's what I think is like the interesting and valuable thing. Like if you follow someone, like if you like Dan Martell, you probably are going to be curious of like how he goes through mental frameworks of thinking of parenting decisions or nutrition or working out. And it depends, but like in Papa P's defense or his point, if it's a new wholesaler that's just starting cold calling and they start posting that stuff, they're not going to have a lot of weight behind. Like, I'm not super interested unless maybe the person was like ripped and jacked or super healthy and like what their macros or what their nutrition was, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
like
with you,
talk about
but-
like Mountain Valley water, right? Like you could phrase it in the sense of like, I understand how important my body is in order for me to be able to do what I want, to have the energy that I need. So I have investigated water and like why it's important and what water I should be drinking. Like you could phrase it that way to make it relevant to, and back to what you're saying, like Brandon, like your pillars that you're going to talk about, you can still frame it in that reference versus like I went into the grocery store and this bottle looked pretty, so I bought it. I wanted to let you guys know.
And it's building your tribe too. Like even if you have a handful of people in your tribe that like, you know, they'll show up to anything that you do, watch any podcast you do, whatever. It's like those people are going to find that valuable as a piece of your overall content. Like you're mostly going to be talking real estate investing and software stuff. Like me and John would both be talking like software stuff, and I'd be talking about like personal development. Or
Again, you're piecing
stuff.
it there, but you're not. I don't know. I'm with you. It's just
it's interesting, and I'm not all the way. I'm not
examples.
I'm not all the way sold on it. I'm not all the way sold on it either. Like, and that Pace has some good videos talking about like if you're not sold on doing personal content, not necessarily that same exact style, but if you're not into putting content out about yourself, telling people what you do, where you're at in your business, being authentic, saying you're just a beginner. That's like his biggest thing. He's like, even if you're brand new to real estate, you should be doing that. Like, hey, I'm just getting into this thing called real estate wholesaling. I'm looking for distressed real estate or distressed sellers or both. I'm going to be making offers. Like he's absolutely massive and huge on that. So I think people like that are really successful, and he gets all his deals now from just students or people sending him deals. People like that influence the whole thing. Like Pace's Facebook group probably has like 100,000 people in it at this point. Like a large percentage of them are going to at least do content one time. A percentage of them are going to do content consistently. Plus the people that are experienced and can pay 25 grand a month, like Ryan Pineda, to have someone come out once a week, once a month and shoot content for a month. So and just the way of the world too. Another thing I was going to bring up that Papa P made me think of is I think TikTok was banned in Montana this week by the governor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do they enforce that?
It was like a week or so ago. It was
a week or so ago. I saw it this week, but it's like, that's another thing with the content people or the people that are on the front line of marketing, like seeing changes in Google pay-per-click, AI, SEO, social media. Like Josh Culler does social media for a lot of the people in like Collective Genius and like Family Mastermind and stuff. Those people are like on the frontier. Like they're seeing changes that happen daily in real time. Like obviously if you're in Montana or if TikTok starts getting banned in more states, like 10 of the 50 states, like that's going to change people's overall content strategy, you know?
Why did it get banned? Because they think because of the Chinese elements?
Let's pull it up.
I like TikTok.
You do?
I guess the Chinese are watching us, but our own government's watching. So.
Everybody's watching everybody.
Yeah, everybody's watching us.
Like, what the hell are they going to learn from TikTok?
I was very judgmental on TikTok, but like I kind of like it because it's a search engine. So like, and I was showing my wife and I were laying in bed, and I was like, we were TikToking on my phone. So like, I was showing her TikToks, and she doesn't use it, and she was like, "So that's what you use it for?" And I was like searching because I was like, and I wanted to search something for Trump, and there's a comedian, so I'm like this and this or this, you know what I mean? How to start a battery, you know, jumpstart a car, and like you search that, and the way their algorithms and their search engine works. TikTok's very much a video platform search engine. Oh, that's what it was. We were looking for like the top 10 air purifying plants for indoor. So I just typed in, I was like, top plans for, air quality inside. Did that, watched a couple, and then I was like, okay, top 5 plant recommendations for, and you know what I mean? And like, it drops all the videos based on the way the algorithms work. But Instagram, you can't do that. You can't ask a question.
You can't search in Instagram? I didn't realize that.
No, you
for people though, right? And like tags. But
yeah, for tags and people and things, but not like a Google, but for video. TikTok is very much geared towards being a search engine, and Instagram isn't. So it's different. So TikTok's more of like the how-to type of stuff. And you search that and it's there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like the governor says he wants to protect the state's residents' private information from being compromised, pointing out the Chinese government as a political threat. There's also 100%. Residents of Montana that are now suing Montana, calling the state ban unconstitutional, which I agree with as well.
I agree with
unconstitutional. That is what's the term I'm looking for? Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
So I go either way on that. I'm more concerned with our money supply and what the government.
Yeah, that's a way bigger That's a way bigger concern. Yeah. Let me see what the debt total is now. I think I googled it.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the CBDCs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about what they did in, what was it? Don't quote me. Was it Nigeria? One of the countries down there where they made cash illegal. And from the illegal cash, they basically said you're going to use the e-Nari or whatever it's called. And they were going to limit you from pulling out cash to $40 a week. Now, the average person down there needs $40 a day to survive. So people, only 0.0% of citizens signed up for their e-CBDC, their e-currency. So what they did is they limited the cash withdrawal of that currency, right?
To force more people to switch.
And people started signing up in droves because you had to live off of $40 a day. You could only withdraw 40 a week. So kids were starving. So they literally starved their own nation to get conformity into what the government wanted. And that's just a precursor to what's going to happen in this country, because I don't think people realize that once you have a digital currency, that control is, it's a full control of the population. Your money can expire. You could be working your ass off and then they could say, this money has expired, you no longer, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that randomly the other week, like maybe late night or early morning thoughts of like, they're probably going to give early adopters, like for the US dollar, if this happens, they're going to give early adopters like, hey, transfer your US dollars to whatever digital currency, and early adopters, you get this much value for your dollars. And the people, like the longer you wait, the less value you get until maybe it's
think about expired. It becomes a problem, man. It's like, even in real estate itself, like there is no more paying your Mexicans daily in cash.
Mm-hmm.
There is no more of that. There is no, let me go and, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that type of stuff. And I think it becomes a problem. You can't tip people. You can't tip your waitress. You can't do that. And if you do something they don't like, there goes your money.
Did we bring up the Ron DeSantis immigration bill? Because that came up last week, I guess it was, with people at Pace and Jamil's like book signing event. People were talking about that in Florida. You guys have to know about that? I don't know exactly.
We're so detached from the news right now.
Yeah, I just hear of it from hearsay. But apparently Ron DeSantis passed some type of law in Florida that's harsher on immigrants or people that aren't like documented.
100%.
Correctly?
You know what, Madeline? This is a crock of shit, because try going into any other motherfucking country. Try going to another country and just immigrating into there. There's countries, they don't let you do that. Like, some countries have much longer waits than us. And they're totally restrict non-citizens buying real estate there, let alone even becoming a citizen. And we get treated because we don't want people coming in droves illegally. That becomes a freaking problem.
But I think the reason that got brought up is almost what you were saying of like paying workers under the table or cash or whatever
to do those jobs.
There should be, there seems to be a lot of people here that were getting paid that may not have full or correct documentation that are now going to leave Florida because they're like, damn, I don't want to get deported or penalized or whatever. I think it's like a crazy penalty.
Listen, dude, I've worked with some of those before. Everybody has in real estate, and some are good, some are bad. I don't think stricter immigration laws is a bad thing. I think there's a process to it, and I have no problem with people coming into this country. My family did. I'm not.
I'm an immigrant.
Yeah, I'm a second generation immigrant. My grandparents came over on the boat. So it's like, I get it, but they came over and they signed up and they did their little thing in Ellis Island and blah 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 and came through and worked their ass off. And then my next generation, and now there's me. And it's like, hey guys, I'm here, still doing shit. So that makes me second gen, right?
I'm just trying to figure out, so I immigrated. So does that make me first gen or zero gen? What's before first? Original?
Well, it depends on how you. Yeah, you're the initial generation, first generation. You're not an American though, so you're not first. Your kids are the first generation.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? That's the way I always looked at it. So like, my mom is first generation American.
Yeah. Okay.
I am second generation. They say the third generation is the one where it all goes to shit. So like, I'm really working hard for my kids not to be pieces of shit.
Oh, I'm glad I'll let my kids raise the third generation.
I'm both, I guess.
No,
I'm first and second because my mom was born in Cuba and came to Miami. And then my dad was born in Washington, D.C., but his parents are from Costa Rica and Cuba.
Yeah. I mean, so all of us have immigrated at some point in our family have immigrated. So it's not like I have a problem with immigration. I have a problem with like how it's done. And I mean, you saw what was going on in Mexico down there. It's wild right now. That's if any of that is true. It all could be fake news.
AI deepfakes.
Yeah, 100%. I can't trust anything anymore.
I'm the same way. Like, stricter immigration is fine with me. I think it's interesting, though. I always look to say, okay, I mean, the United States is fucking massive. So you talk about countries that control immigration strictly. They're so much tinier, and it's a lot easier.
It's like a state. It's like they're like the size of one of our states.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for them to like control that and understand it. But I'm also like, I don't think people realize the impact that undocumented immigrants have on our economy. And what would happen if all of them disappeared? Like, you're talking about people like, kick them all out. And I was like, are you willing to go to the field?
And that's the thing is I don't think people understand that either. So there needs to be this line. I think immigration needs to be more streamlined. I think it needs to be doable. And I'm not an expert on it, but I agree, being on the front lines of hiring these people to work on houses, or even being located next to Plant City, where we have, and the orange groves and the strawberry fields, and you see them. Do you think, like, I think of like my nephew and stuff like that. That generation.
Like, first gen, second gen, and third gen American going out.
Fucking video games.
They're on TikTok.
I'm not gonna go pick strawberries. Like,
they're on TikTok watching other people do it.
But they'll do it, and there's so much respect for them because they will do it. They live together as a family. The wives take care of the husbands. The husbands take care of their families. Multiple generations live together, brothers, sisters, you know what I mean? With the mom and the dad. Yeah, exactly.
I knew a family, like some of my best friends in high school, never realized they were undocumented. They got deported in my freshman year of college. I was shocked when I found out because they lived in a neighborhood. They were phenomenal people, had great relationships. Everybody loved them. Yeah. Like, there was not a single bad thing. What basically happened is the guy worked in a hotel. He got injured. And instead of paying for disabilities, the hotel reported him to ICE. And they tried to get sponsored, like wonderful people, just like would have been amazing Americans. But they got deported instead.
And there's a very criminal element to illegal immigrants too. There's the hardworking element. Nothing is a black and white. There's always a gray area. So I am for it. I am also understanding that I would love to see some of these people, but I'm also happy because I think there needs to be a recognition, or somebody to recognize that they should be lucky and happy to have the jobs that they have, because there's a lot worse jobs out there that they don't have to do. So all these people, like the Starbucks people who tried to unionize and fight over, like, bro, all you literally do is stand in an AC place. And I was watching them from the window the other day. They're like, here you go. Do you want to leave a tip? I'm not leaving you a fucking tip. Dude. You didn't do shit. Okay, you move like 5 steps. That's why you're fucking overweight too. Like they're all fat. They're all like, you know what I mean? Like I'm watching them and I'm like, and they want me to tip them for what?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I took my wife out. We went out for lunch today, and it's like one of those little multiple restaurants in one area, like a food, almost like a food court. And we had to order from 3 different places because there's all to get what we wanted. And each one of them, they spin around the monitor and they try to like look away, like they're like. And I know you can still see it.
Just need you to finalize one thing. Your food will be out in 1 minute. Just
make a choice right there. I'm like, bro, you're literally making me go sit down, wait, and then come back, get my food, then clear my shit, put it away. You want me to leave you a tip for what?
Mm-hmm.
You're throwing fries in a basket. And that's right, I ate fries, but I ran today. Fries in a basket, dumping it onto a tray, handing me a bunch of packets of ketchup and saying, here you go. Like, why do you deserve more money for that? And that's why I'm okay with McDonald's automating their first McDonald's and eliminating a lot, because I think they all need to lose their jobs.
Oh my God. I was in a McDonald's the other day because we were out and the kids were like starving. And I was like, let's do this. They got the order wrong and I'm just standing there. And there's like, I swear to God, 12 people back there. And I've never seen 12 people walk so slow in my life.
Slowest motherfuckers in the world, bro. It's like Chipotle. It is like fucking Chipotle. They never get shit right. I love Chipotle, but they always F it up. They never get it right. They're always out of shit. And the girls there, like, because they're all like either, those types of people who are there and they're just 19, 18-year-olds who are angry at life. And they're just like, huh, what do you want? I'm like, white rice. What else? And they're like down and you slide down. And you're just watching them hate life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fold your burrito and it breaks and they're hoping you're not seeing. And they start to, I'm like, listen. Can you unwrap that and do it again? And they look at you like,
how dare you?
How dare you make me rewrap this broken burrito?
The move at Chipotle. The move at Chipotle is you get a burrito bowl to go and you get a wrap on the side.
All right,
you take it home. You roll half of your own and then you eat the other half out of the bowl.
Yeah, it's like such a Hormozy thing. He's got that little.
There's
a lot of people out doing that, but I get it. I think a lot of these people.
I was going to say, talk about somebody that does content like that.
That's like Hormozy, like totally fucking random.
It's
about how he became successful.
Listen, I have
true.
nothing against Ryan Pineda. I love his videos. I respect his success. But the way he makes his content versus Hormozy is so different. I don't respect Ryan's other content.
How is Hormozy's different? How would you? Not that I'm disagreeing, but I'm just curious. How would you explain it?
You would have to watch it. It is the way he talks and presents it. Ryan feels like he's speaking from a high horse.
So the tone of it, and the perspective is different for you.
It's the personability to it, and it's what he's talking about, which is like Alex is trying to help you. Right,
yeah, like tips versus like look how intelligent I am and what I'm doing in my life.
That's exactly the difference right there. One is I'm trying to show you how smart I am and watch me, and the rest of Ryan's stuff isn't like that. When he speaks from what he actually knows and does, it's great content. Now, Alex, all of his stuff is good because he doesn't just talk about Chipotle. He's like, let me share a tip when I was broke and like this is how I did it. Mm-hmm. Not, let me tell you the difference between buying from Chipotle and the health fact. Like, he's not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I love Hormozy's content. I love both of them, but yeah, Hormozy's content is awesome.
Yeah, I like Ryan's long form. Like, he's been bringing on good guests.
Outside of real estate, too. Like, all
outside of real estate. And he just talks to them, and it's really good. Like, and to speak to it, like, the other day that he was talking, I saw that I finally saw the one with Dan Martell.
I couldn't find it. I thought they took it down. How good was that?
You want to know why they took it down?
I wasn't even sure if they took it down. So here's
why, and I don't know this for a fact, but I deduced it, is because during the podcast, he referenced 2 software sales, and he said on the podcast that he wasn't sure if they were completed yet or not, and if he was able to actually say what he said. So I am sure they had to go and verify that what Dan said was able to be aired, or else he was going to be in violation of agreements with some of his clients. Because he talked about Alex Becker's sale, and Ryan brought up the dollar amount, and he's like, I can't say anything unless he publicly said it. And he goes, yeah, he did. He goes, okay, well, if he said it, then yeah. But I guess I shouldn't have said that because I don't actually know if he said it publicly. And so I think they probably had to go verify that Alex Becker actually said that publicly, which then waived his confidentiality on talking about it as well. So I know that was a very convoluted.
How did you get it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it now because I wanted to rewatch
It's out there. I watched it.
Maybe they just did it for a while and it came back.
Bro, me and my son listened to it on the way to his swim meet. He passed out, and I kept. If I want my son to fall asleep, I just put on a fucking business podcast. He just passes out in the passenger seat, and I'm like, yes, quiet time.
Okay, here we go. It's back up.
Yeah, but I think that's what. And he talked about another sale as well. John, post that shit up there for people to go check.
Yeah, this
out.
is a great interview. He
links
name
are
drops
phenomenal, but he
name drops Carrot.
But he talks about like becoming a billionaire and why. And so the way he talked in his long form is a lot different than the way he does when he just literally is like, let's make content about this. It's a lot his short form stuff.
Papa B, have you done 75 hard before? You seem like a 75 hard guy.
Bro,
also, you've been talking to someone we need to get on the show is Greg Simpson, who we all three pull with him.
Yeah, fucking me. I wouldn't say I have pull with Greg, but I do know Greg. I don't have pull with anybody in my life. But I do know him. He's part of REI Ops Center. He's an REI Ops Center user, and we've been doing data training. So, yeah, I was talking to him yesterday. I'd love to get him on. I know he's a very busy man. I know he's got some kids. He's got a couple of little ones. So I know how that schedule goes.
I'm testing this new QR code. Does it work?
What? Oh, I saw that up there.
That's cool.
But what was I going to say?
Dude, I feel like such a baby boomer at these networking events. Someone scanned the QR code. That's cool.
That's me.
These networking events I've been going to, everybody has these different apps like that. And I'm just like, oh, I'll like take your phone number down, or here, take my phone number down.
Bro, this QR code thing is sweet. Anyway, I forget what we were talking about, but yeah.
Greg Simpson, Dan Martell. Now I'm just thinking of different people's different content, because Dan Martell is really interesting too. But also, which we've talked about on the show before, at least have mentioned, where, and this is probably back when I was like high school, middle school, all of us were probably, but like 10, 20 years ago, it was not a thing for entrepreneurs and business people to talk about like physical health, or even now more so mindfulness, meditating, personal development type stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now it's like a normal, like if you're not at least into it or like posting about it, that's like almost not the norm. So like Dan Martell posting 75 hard.
Oh, so listen, I've had this conversation with many of people who I talk to. Are like, bro, do you 75 hard? I want to explain something.
Do it.
And I really think people should really watch Andy Frisella's podcast. I think it's a phenomenal podcast. He does talk. He reminds me of myself. He just talks.
Yes, he does.
But it's not about doing 75 hard. It is about living hard. So when people ask me, I don't want to do it. I don't need to do 75 hard. I am hard. I do it in my own. And so that's his whole thing, is like he developed that course, but the purpose isn't to do 75 hard and then stop. He goes, the purpose is this, to live hard.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I do 2 workouts every single day, 5 days.
So do you think you could do it then?
I don't want to do it.
That's not the question. I'm thinking you're hard enough. You're hard enough though. If you had to do it, you would be able to do it. Like you confidently think you could do it.
Do I want to do it? So
that's not the question, Brandon.
It's 2 workouts a day, picture of yourself a day, a gallon of water. What else is it?
Read 10 pages.
Read 10
no
pages.
Alcohol. No cheat meals.
Yeah.
Isn't it stick to a diet, or did he change it to be no?
It's stick to a diet / no cheat meal, or kind of both. Like you stick to whatever your diet regimen is, as strict as you want, and then no cheat meals off of that. So I'm curious. I know you say you live hard and that you don't want to do it, but I'm curious if you were thrown into the ringer. It was Q3.
If you're telling me if I mentally am capable of doing it, I already do. I do all of that. I don't take a picture of myself in the mirror. I never have, never will. So that would be a roadblock for me. The only thing that got me, and this is just telling the truth, is the cheat meal. I haven't drank in, I don't know, fucking years, decade. I just don't drink. But ice cream?
That would be hard.
Like I don't eat a lot of it, but like I enjoy the dopamine fix when I go home and I have my Haagen-Dazs, and I don't eat a lot of it, but like that's my thing, and that's also how I
Wait,
motivate
you go
myself.
home from work and before dinner you have a Haagen-Dazs?
So my logic is this: if I have
Here's a content piece. This is a content piece, by the way.
This is a content piece. Clip it. My logic is this: I go to bed and I stop eating by 8 o'clock. If sugar is the last thing I eat, that's harder on my body before because that's sitting there. So I might as well go home and I have a routine, where I'm making dinner and stuff. Then I'll snack on my ice cream while I'm doing that. One, it cools me down and it's like, oh, today was a rough day today. Fuck today, and I'm eating it. And I put it away and I eat dinner. And by that time, it's almost 8 o'clock and I fast all night until the next day. I work out, fasted, and all that stuff. And then I eat again at 12, and that's my thing. It's better than let me eat my dinner, and right before I go to bed, let me gorge on ice cream and have that be the last thing that my body's metabolizing.
Yeah.
I have no factual basis for that other than it's my brain.
It works for you.
That's literally a content piece of, this is why I have dessert before my dinner.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would be horrible content because how does that even
it's funny.
Anybody?
You can see both lenses. If you have your tribe, which everybody does to a certain extent, people would no, but literally, like, it's funny, but like literally this is how people are wired. People would find value in your philosophy of why you did that.
Yeah. And then you see people at events like, bro, you want to go out for dinner? Yeah, man, I got to order my ice cream first. I'm doing it the Patterson way. I'm going to eat my ice cream. Be like, oh, no shit. And people are eating ice cream before dinner.
All right, can we start with some apps, guys? Yeah, I'll do the banana split and chocolate sundae, please.
And here's the thing is I only do Haagen-Dazs because it's real ice cream. And out of all the searches in Publix for all their ice creams, it has the least, like, it's real stuff in there. There's not all the extra. It's got the least amount of ingredients. So it's also how I rationalize me eating
this is content.
Ice cream.
This is all content.
Yeah. And I don't think the only other thing is I don't do weekend workouts. So 75 hard would tie into my family life. So the weekends I give to my family. I
think that's part of it though, is being able to do. That's the challenge. Yeah. Is still fitting your family time while doing it. So either wake up earlier, you do one late at night.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not trying to say that you should do it. I'm just curious. I know you're an Andy Frisella guy, and you seem like a guy that would be a 75 hard guy because you're an Andy Frisella guy.
Man, it's not like I like where you think you're reverse challenging me now, like you did when I told you I couldn't switch my schedule, and then you called me out and said, "Really I think we should challenge you to do that," and then somehow I found a way to change my entire work schedule where I could work out in the morning and stuff. But I'm not gonna do it. I don't feel that fits my lifestyle. I don't need to prove that I could do 75 hard to live hard.
Don't need to prove it to anybody.
Now you're trying to reverse it.
It would be cool though if you did 75 if you did 75 hard leading up to speaking at TB RIA. That'd be pretty cool. Me and Greg Simpson did a podcast just on 75 hard, which was cool.
Did you do 75 hard?
Yeah. We all did. Me, Dan, and John all did it the same in 2021.
Well, listen, neither one of you is fucking jacked. So why do I want to do something that gets me not jacked?
It's not the jacked thing. It's 100% mental.
It's 100% mental.
It's 100%.
I got fit after.
Obviously,
did we both cut out?
The government didn't like what John was saying. So
yeah, seriously.
You got edited, bro. The government's like, nah, dude. John's bullshitting right now.
Like, I got fit after, like, the healthiest fit I've ever been after I did 75 hard. But yeah, it's all about, like, how do you fit it together? How do you stay? You guys, I can't tell. But yeah, to me, it was the mental understanding of what I'm capable of doing and how much I can get done and still be productive and work while fitting in all these other things. Still, like, my wife did not enjoy me doing 75 hard.
Right.
They were supportive of it, but still, like, maintaining family stuff.
You didn't do 75 hard.
I did.
Isn't one of the things of 75 hard that you're supposed to post on social media?
No, you don't have to post it.
You don't have to post. You take a picture. You take selfies, like a picture in the mirror of yourself.
You weren't supposed to post it?
No, you can keep it in your phone.
Okay. You don't have to. Yeah. Well, there's an app where you store it. So there's a 75 hard app where it's like a checklist and you do everything.
I definitely passed the water rule though, because I definitely drink
There you
enough fucking water. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think 75 hard, for lack of a better term, is like a sustainable or
But
you know,
so
thing to do, but
that's the difference. It's
it's-
sustainable the way I do it because you guys do it for 75 days. I've been doing this for like 8 months nonstop.
Yeah.
Where I do the same thing every single day. I drink the same amount of water, the same diet, the same workout regime, 2 times a day, 5 days a week. So where you guys are just trying to push yourself for 75 days, I am living hard constantly.
Yeah, but your baseline is then at a new level. And I think the biggest thing for 75 hard, bless you, thank you. 75 hard is almost, for me, it was almost just like when you're doing stuff in your day, the amount of time between like the need for a break, you just don't have it. Like there's going to be nights, anybody that does 75 hard, there are going to be nights where it's like 9, 10, 11 o'clock and you either like haven't done a workout, haven't read, haven't done something. And it's like, shit, like I either need to do like a 45-minute outdoor workout right now at 11 o'clock at night, or I'm going to have to start from day 0. And then if you're posting on social media, that's where like you hold yourself. The accountability on social media is like a really psychologically powerful thing.
Yeah.
Like on the days that you don't, on the days that you're like not feeling it or tired, or you might have to do both of your workouts after work or something like that, for example. That's big. I didn't realize though until like the last week that you could do workouts back to back. For some reason, I thought that there was like you had to take a break.
Like that's how I work out. Like
yeah,
so I run and then I lift immediately after.
Yeah, so you do one of those outdoor. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's fascinating. I think it's definitely a.
So basically, what you're saying is you guys only live hard for 75 days, then you go
not
back
at all.
to being,
just impromptu.
You're not continually doing it. You're not doing what Andy Frisella is trying to get you to do. So if you're not doing double day workouts, you're still not doing all that. Bro, you don't live hard.
I would highly disagree with that.
Live hard constantly.
I would highly disregard that.
Now listen,
disagree with that.
I have a workout. I'm building a course for it. It's called the Pedersen Challenge, where instead of doing 75 days hard, it's called Every Day Hard.
Is this real? I feel like he's making this up right now.
I'm on.
You get to eat ice cream though.
You have to
eat ice cream
before dinner, but you have to do 2 workouts 5 days a week. Drink all your water, and it's the same thing. But only we make it more doable, so you constantly live hard.
Yeah, no, I would strongly disagree with that because it's kind of like David Goggins talking about, which is a real thing. He calls it like going back in the cookie jar, which I know that you've read that book. I think you wrote that as well, John. But going back in the cookie jar. So something you could do is like, hey, I've been able to do 2 workouts a day, or I didn't drink alcohol, or I didn't have a cheat meal for 75 days in a row. Like that's like serious discipline. So that's something you could go back and do. And I would also disagree with you in this fashion of like living hard. Like I eat cheat meals, but I'm not intentionally like, and I eat really clean actually, but just impromptu.
It becomes a part of your life.
Impromptu, I did 75 yoga classes in 75 days without even like a thing. Like I just got past the initial like soreness of doing it. And then I was like, oh shit, like I'm like doing a ton.
But the question is not, can you live hard for 75 days? The question is how does your life alter to where it becomes a standard part of your day? So 75 hard is kind of like a jump start for people to figure that out. I don't need the jump start. I have just figured out how to constantly stay physically fit, mentally in shape. And again, I'm not saying I was always like that because there was a period of my life.
You had your own jump start, just it wasn't a program.
It just wasn't 75 hard.
Yeah,
it was me looking at myself and saying, holy fuck, I'm like 40 pounds overweight. I can't breathe. I couldn't even bend over. Like I was talking to a guy at the mobile home park. He's overweight. And he was like, how did you lose weight? We were talking about how hard it was. He knew he was fat at the moment I realized I was fat. When I went to bend over to my shoes to tie them, and I had to hold my breath because my stomach was in the way and like it was compacting like my lungs and I couldn't breathe. So I would hold my breath, try to tie my shoes and get my shoe on. And I remember sitting up one time going, holy fuck, I'm fat. And
that's also a content clip. I'm just going to start doing that when it's
and it was funny because he had the same epiphany. He's just trying to figure out how to lose weight, and I told him how I did it. And it's just, and I also fast and I drink, apple cider vinegar every night. And I think apple cider vinegar is a huge help for me. Every time I've been in the best shape is because I drink apple cider vinegar at night and I do my fasting ever since I was younger.
Well, yeah, I I think 75 hard, and we need to have Greg Simpson on to.
I think we just have Andy. I think
and Andy
we get Andy Frisilla on, and we have a debate as to whether you're right or I'm right, because I watch Andy Frisilla, and there was a podcast episode where he specifically said people misunderstood 75 hard, and the idea was not for them to do 75 hard. The idea was for them to find a way to live hard constantly.
Yeah.
And I remember walking around my gym going, I am now validated. Thank you.
I think you're being too harsh on Carlos. Like, he lives his life hard.
Does he?
He's done,
Yeah.
Where's your
1,000,000%.
water right now? Where's your water right now?
I don't have I drank it. I don't have the Mountain Valley. I'm out water. But I've done everything. I've tracked macros. I've got rips
He
before.
was doing this before 75 hard.
I was ripped years before 75 hard.
Can we pull up pictures? John, do we have before and after pictures of
I could-
Carlos being ripped and hard?
I could show a picture of just abs, not huge muscles. Let me see
He
here.
was ripped. Before 75 hard. He's
John, put a PG-13 for a shirtless picture on Let's Talk Real Estate on. Let me see if I can find it really quick. No, but this is discipline of tracking macros, everything for
See, I don't
probably like a year, 2 years. That's weighing everything out, tracking
No,
macros,
I don't do
adjusting.
that.
I don't know
Never
if
done
this is
that.
going to populate or not.
No, it's blurry. It looks like is that
some muscles right there.
who is that? Is that
Cristiano Ronaldo abs.
is
man.
that a picture of a Holocaust victim?
Those are abs, dude.
What is that? What is that? Is that somebody starving to death?
Now
No
we just
way.
rated it R for.
That looks
Look
like,
at those
that
abs
looks like the
popping.
guy from the Machinist. Like, what is that? Is that
Yeah, right.
Christian Bale?
Oh man,
I've never looked like that.
that's what you get, baby.
You know,
Recently.
so the difference is I've always tried to find a way in my life to do things consistently,
Right.
not try. So like I've never.
But you're making
I've
those
known-
things. You're making those things mutually exclusive. I have to cut you off here because you're almost like you're making them mutually exclusive because you haven't done 75 hard. In theory, I'm saying you're making them. You're making them mutually.
hard. I would smoke you with it. It wouldn't even be a struggle, but I don't need to because.
But I'm
am
saying
so
you're.
hard.
It's clear you're making it mutually exclusive. Like, how could you argue that someone that was able to do that can't also just exponentially like get better in their own ways of whatever they want to do after they've done it?
Because the question is do you continually do it?
Absolutely.
Are you still
Not
working out
75
twice
hard.
a day every day?
No, because that's a temporary thing just to show yourself discipline. But I'm always exponentially getting better, and my discipline is always getting better.
I mean, we're going to have to believe you that you are because you're not giving specific examples of how you continually stay jacked and in shape.
Well, it's a mental thing too. It's a mental discipline. It's a thing.
physical and
I just
mental.
gave an
mental than
example.
It's
physical.
physically and mentally.
I just gave an example of something that organically happens, not just from 75 hard, but
How
from
many
just
days a week you working out?
continue
How many days
every
a week
single
you working
day.
out? Every day. There you go. So you
Yoga
are
every
doing
single
it.
day. That's why I said I did
Yoga?
75
So we're
days in
doing
7
yoga?
hours.
Yoga.
You couldn't do a hot yoga class without
No.
sipping water for an hour. Guaranteed. I've done
I
would
would
take-
yoga before.
No, a hot
just
yoga
had to
class.
stop-
All right, this has been a great
Yoga.
episode, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to separate
shit.
these two. We'll see you all next week. No, just kidding.
I need to get Andy Frisilla on this fucking show. Can we reach out to him as a guest? We'll go on his show. debate this.
RI Op Center is a sponsor, but he doesn't take sponsors.
He doesn't. He doesn't do ads either. You know, it's okay. I know you're trying to bait me into the 75 hard. I will not. I
I
do
wouldn't
that.
say so.
Just
I don't
like
think
I
it was
it-
baiting
this-
you at all. I
yeah.
think you took it a little personal, Brandon.
Mm-mm.
I agree.
You thought that Carlos is putting you on the pedestal of people that haven't done 75 hard and therefore are lesser. He was just asking about the mental aspect of it.
100% mental, which that's what it is. It's 99% mental. 99.9.
But props to you for completing it. It is a challenge in itself. Many people start, many people don't complete. It's like a marathon. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
people start it but can't complete it. So you finished it, and that's the important thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. But you finished it.
I'm just going back to your point. That's not-
I'm just trying to be polite. I'm trying to let you guys know. You know.
All right, I'm gonna have to rename this episode because the subject I put out is not what we talked about
we
today.
did not talk about CRMs.
No,
today.
I loved it though. We just went off the cuff with weekly pulse and real estate and software and content and marketing,
It was good.
personal development, all good stuff.
Good chat.
75 hard. I'm gonna go watch Andy Frisilla right now.
Do it.
I look forward to revisiting this next week and quietly sitting by as you guys argue about it.
All right.
All right, gents. Have a great rest of your week. Good weekend.
Lock and load, guys. See you on the
Enjoy
next
your
one.
yoga. We'll see you all.
Enjoy your yoga. Your lady
I will.
workout.
I always will.
Yoga's great.
It is.
I forgot to put up the. Here we go. Bye.